Okay folks, so I'm just gonna tell you straight off the bat, Call of Duty is dead, Modern Warfare 22 is dead, and the franchise is pretty much dead. And it's not coming back. And I'm gonna explain why. I'm gonna give you 5 reasons why this game is dead. And not only just dead, but dead for good. Alright? Let's go. Activision has probably spent the last 7 to 8, maybe even 9 years trying to figure out how to eliminate natural selection. So what is natural selection? Natural selection is basically you at home who's potentially amazing at competitive gaming. You pick up the pad, you instantly figure it out, and you are just really good at whatever you're playing. This could be games like FIFA, where you're kicking a ball around, Street Fighter, which you and an opponent are going back and forth trading blows, and the one that we all know and love, Call of Duty. You could be naturally gifted with great tracking with the analog sticks, an eye for positioning in intense moments where a wrong decision in that split second means game over for you in a game with such a low TTK, knowing when to push and when not to push, just an all-around naturally good gamer. However, there's people that are down the road from you, across the street from you, next door to you, heck even downstairs in your own home, who are just crap at online competitive gaming. Now, some of these people could pick up the game, not be necessarily good at what they're playing, but if they look at a few tutorials, Google's your best friend, YouTube's an even better friend, and they could actually pay attention on how the actual mechanics work and actually improve on the gameplay to where they may not be just as good as the naturally born talented players, but they could at least compete somewhat. Yeah, if they just sat down, learned how to play the mechanics and persevere with it. But no, most players just turn the game on, put the controller in their hand, don't bother going into the settings to understand how a lot of these inner settings with the dead zones and the aim assist and how your high zooms and low zooms sensitivity multiplier works. Jump into a few lobbies, get fried and just say, nope, this game is not for me. Activision hates that. They hate that people are not sticking around and persevering with their game, even though the natural order of life in competition is somebody is really good, which results in somebody else not being as good. Somebody wins, which means somebody else fails. That's the natural order of competition. But Activision said, no, we're going to turn online competition into a participation. We're going to rig the lobbies to where we're going to keep certain individuals away from other individuals. We're going to alter people's movement and hit registration. And if there's anybody that suspects us of doing this, we're going to put the notion out there that it's their internet connection rather than anything we're doing. And with algorithms such as skill-based matchmaking and engaged optimized matchmaking in place, we can then share out the kills between everyone. Nobody's really winning and no one's really losing. It's just one big giant wait your turn until you get an easier lobby, then we will give you one where you can persevere and win. But until then, stay in line, keep playing, allow us to use your body as player retention while we give everybody else their win, and then eventually we'll come round to you and then give you your win. Basically an assembly line. And we'll also give certain shills birthday cakes and opportunities to come down to the latest Call of Duty events in exchange for putting up smoke screens defending us while we partake in our shady ways. That's what Activision's number one goal is. Eliminate natural selection so they can turn the game into a manufactured series of events which will, in their eyes, hopefully control your mood while you play and keep a mass amount of players in the game, whether they're having fun or not, long enough so they can make money off you via the in-game store. One thing the company didn't anticipate though was people becoming more and more aware of the assembly line they're waiting in. Most people are just not prepared to wait in it anymore and just said to themselves, you know what, I'm just not playing. And they're losing player retention day by day by day by day. The second reason why the franchise is failing is because Activision doesn't want to give you anything, and I mean anything, unless they 100% know they can make money off that decision, or it's going to at least lead towards some form of revenue. This includes any gun skin, any operator skin, any game mode. The last thing they want to do is give you something and then 2 weeks later realize, oh snap, we could have made money off these people here. And then end up taking it away from you and then trying to give it you back with some form of paywall, which then would cause a backlash within the community. They could give you maps like High Rise and Terminal and give you Resurgence maps tomorrow if they really wanted to. I'm pretty sure that's what the actual studios, in reference to Infinity Ward and Treyarch, actually want to do. Give you a game that's outright fun to where you can enjoy it, because obviously their reputation is at stake when you guys play these games. However, due to the representatives and the investors having the final say on most of these decisions, most of the good stuff gets shelved until they can figure out a way to make money from it. So instead of you getting sick maps like Derail, Wasteland, Afghan or Favela, what you end up with is Rocket League's disabled cousin as a game mode. You'll have a middle-aged investor who's watched their grandson play a game with a little tiny micro machine car pushing around a giant football, and would have reported back to the company saying, yes, put this in our game. Yes, surely this will pull players from that game into ours. And then the game becomes an even further political shit show, rather than something that should always orientate around being fun first. The third reason why the game's dying is because the company decided to give certain streamers easier lobbies while putting everyone else through hell. Now I understand why they did it. From a financial standpoint, it makes perfect sense. If you have a streamer that can generate 5, 6, 7, 8, 10, 12, 14, 15,000 people at any given stream at any moment, the last thing you want is that streamer struggling in front of those thousands of people while playing your game, because if the game looks difficult, it just may intimidate viewers into not picking the game up themselves. This could also lead to frustrating the streamer while playing and result in the streamer deciding to invest in another game. Activision decided to give these guys the best lobbies with super strong game assist and opponents that barely know how to pick up a gun, never mind shoot straight. This has allowed them to go off and produce ridiculous numbers within this game. 40 kill games to 60 kill plus world records, feats that will never be obtainable for the general public due to the algorithms imposed on normal accounts just to keep everybody in the general public on the same level. What this has now created is a community full of anxiety, because normal players now want to achieve what the top streamers have done, but not realizing that what the top streamers have done is not real. It's fake and manipulated, and more players day by day are investing in hardware such as Chronuses and Stripe hats, and online software which can give you wall hacks to see through walls just so they can feel like they can achieve what a top streamer is currently doing, making the game even further infested with cheating and therefore deterring legit players away. The fourth reason why the game is dying is because this company still believes they can achieve the numbers that they achieved while we were all stuck in our homes within the cough period. When we were told to stay indoors and everything was closed and we weren't allowed to go see our friends and loved ones, there was nothing to do apart from watch Netflix and play Call of Duty. When the game annoyed you, you then turned it off in frustration. You then went downstairs to watch Netflix for an hour or two. Once your temper calmed down, you ended up turning off Netflix and then coming back upstairs to play Call of Duty. Reason being is because you knew you didn't have work the following morning and there was nothing else to do. You couldn't go nowhere, so you had time to grind skins, you had time to sit there and keep the player retention up. You had time to feed into the algorithm, which helped Activision make ridiculous amounts of money and additional newcomer exposure that made the game achieve such ridiculous numbers in a very difficult time for the world. However, now that the world's opened back up and you now have your life back, the moment this game annoys you in the slightest, just one piece of hit registration not gone in your favor when you know it should have, you turn off. But this time, you don't go downstairs and watch Netflix. What you do is you turn off and you go out. And you go out, go meet your girlfriend, boyfriend, whatever preference you have. You know, you go out with friends, go to dinner, go to cinema, do whatever you want. Yeah, spend hours outside, and then when you come back home, you say to yourself, oh, maybe I should jump on for an hour or two. But then all the thoughts of when you last played all come back to you. How anxiety riddled the game is, how sweaty the lobbies are, how unfun it actually is, how 80% of the time the game feels like a chore rather than a fun experience. And then you look at the time and then you realize, oh no, I've got work in the morning, scrap it, I'll jump on tomorrow evening. And then tomorrow evening doesn't come. because it turns out you've got something else planned outside, you know. And then the day after, you've got something planned after that. Before you know, you've not been on for a couple of weeks. And then you probably only come back once a month, because that's probably the only amount of mental health abuse you're now prepared to give to this game, thanks to cheating, hit manipulation, and skill-based matchmaking. The company even dumbed down the game mechanics in the latest games, thinking that it was going to bring the Cough Cough players back, but it hasn't. Reason being is because the Cough Cough players were temporary and only playing because their social lives were taken from them. And all you've now done is butcher your own game in panic for a category of people that are never coming back regardless of what you do. And the fifth and final reason why Call of Duty will always fail is because the company won't do what needs to be done to finally put an end to cheating. In the last 10 years, PC gaming has become way more prominent within the gaming space. Powerhouse PCs are becoming way more accessible and way more domesticated items within people's homes. People now have the power to create their own AAA games if they choose to do so on these PCs. Mine's powerful to do it, so I can't see how anybody else out there isn't able to achieve this if they want to partake in it. And with the technology now being there and being more accessible for people to create, this now also gives people the technology to modify what's already created. There are super ultra nerds out there that are sat in a room right now with about 10 different computers and about 30 different computer screens, and there's some form of arousal for them with the ability of being able to break into a server, to hack some code, to modify a processor for enabling cheats into a computer game such as Call of Duty. Anything made by a computer can be broken by another computer, and that's why Activision keeps losing this cheaters war. With technology so far advanced and now easily accessible within the comfort of the home, to fix cheating you're now going to have to go beyond the computer and now apply the anti-cheat to the human being. You do this through facial recognition. Somebody cheats, their face is logged, so they can't automatically make another account. Boom, job done. But the problem with that is, it would actually fix the problem. Activision only wants some of the cheaters to disappear, not all of them. Cheaters are still player retention at the end of the day, and if most of your legitimate player base leave, you're going to need to be able to fill the lobbies up with somebody just so the investors don't think the game's died and end up cashing out. Hence why cheating isn't going to disappear anytime soon. And that's it, folks. I think I'm done with the topic of speaking about Call of Duty Warzone and Call of Duty in general. My aim was to give you videos that you could always come back to and reference, even if the future Call of Duties come out. I wanted to show people what was going on with the corrupted side of this company, how games have now changed from when I was younger, where when you actually paid 50, 60 pounds or $70 or whatever it is for a game, you actually got a full game back then. But with now, it's a scenario of you pay for a quarter of the game and then you basically having to pay for the remaining 3/4, you know, depending on when the company decides to let you pay for those 3/4. You know, it's a horrendous time going forward. And I will not be surprised in 10 years time if a game like Call of Duty is now charging you for every step you make in the game, every time you lift the gun, and possibly even be charging you for ammunition. You know, it sounds crazy now, but I wouldn't put it past them. They now have a mode which is perfect for something like that, especially when it's out of beta and the in-game economy once available, which will allow you to purchase in-game items in exchange for real-life money for things that will help you and assist you within that game mode. Don't be shocked if they decide to prioritize DMZ over Warzone in the not so far future. However, with that being said, I never wanted to be here and spam content and just keep regurgitating the same things. I wanted to make sure all my videos gave you something unique and different that people could learn from. All due respect to the people that spam the algorithm, that's not me, that's not what I was doing it for. I understand there's going to be a lot of people that have followed me for my Call of Duty content and what I say on the matter, and I understand a lot of people are going to probably unsubscribe now. What I will say to those people is thank you for sticking by while I was talking about this subject. Yeah, every video you clicked on and listened to all the way through and sat through the ads, I thank you. I wholeheartedly thank you for doing that. However, me going forward with this channel, I'm going to concentrate more on playing one player campaign games. Any AAA title that comes out, for example, the Dead Space remake is out in a couple weeks time. I'll be playing that all the way through on stream. Resident Evil 4 remake, when that comes out, I'll be playing that all the way through. I'll be playing a plethora of one player games now. My channel is going to be a streaming channel where I play games and just interact with the community, you know, the gaming community in general. And even though, as much as I would love the Call of Duty community to stay, I understand if that's not the case, but hopefully I will be able to gain a further audience through just playing games in general and having more of a carefree, less anxiety filled experience with this online FPS game we all used to love. You know, but before I finish the video, I just want people to know I've created a second channel called the Dre Experience. This is going to be a channel that's not necessarily dedicated to gaming, but it's going to be dedicated to everything else. You know, talking about topics in life with politics, the difficult conversations, what's going on in life. And I'm like 600 subscribers, so if 400 people that are planning to stick by my channel can you please go over and sub? If you please get me to 1,000 so I can monetize and potentially go and do this thing full time, back and forth. One channel with daily politics and the other channel with gaming. That would be perfect right now for me. But please, if you can, please go over and subscribe. All I need is 400. Just help me monetize. Just make my day. And I just want to say thank you for everybody who invested the time into me and made me realize that I'm not some crazy weirdo or anything like that. I'm not. I actually do. My voice actually does mean something to people out there. Yeah, and I just want to say for one more final time, thank you. If you're going, what I will say to you is take care, keep your mental health intact, and if you are going to carry on playing games like Call of Duty, make sure you play the game and the game doesn't play you. Alright? If you stay in, this is only just the beginning. Yeah, but hey, like and subscribe. Subscribe to my second channel, the Dre Experience. The link will be in the description box. And I will see you all soon. You take care.